right today, we're going to settle this once and for all about the race card because it comes from a racist deck. I think the confusion comes from the idea of two separate understandings of where race comes into the conversation. So, from my experience, from dealing with white people for a half a century, it seems to be that this is how they come at it. Hello, I have this pristine pie. It is completely free of all blemishes. Yes, it is a wonderful pie, free of blemishes, sweet and delicious. And a black person comes along and goes, I can't eat that. It's a lot of sugar, and I'm diabetic, and I'm not supposed to take in a lot of sugar. White reaction? Why would you bring sugar into this? This was a sweet pie. This has nothing to do with sugar. There's no sugar involved in this. It's a pie. I only see pie. Where do you see sugar? You people have to bring sugar up whenever you're talking about anything. Why does sugar always have to be part of the subject? We're only talking about pie. It's a pie. The sugar's baked in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the difference between the two understandings for the two groups. And that's exactly what woke means, is people, black, white, green, otherwise, but particularly white people who go, you know what? If Tulsa happened, if we found out about Juneteenth this year, if Rosewood happened, if segregation happened, if slavery happened, if Jim Crow happened, this country is deeply rooted in building itself around race. It's in its roots. It's in the Declaration of Independence. It's in 3/5 humans to vote. It's every single segment of society has affected these people because we did everything from enslaving them to separate water fountains. So race is part of every facet of the society. It's like Rowdy Piper with the glasses on and They Live. It's like Keanu Reeves. They go, wow, you know, my doctor told me stay away from sugar, but all I do is have this at the movies and drinks. Everything has sugar. Everything I like has sugar. I hadn't had to think about it before, but now that I look, it's not just a Snapple. It's not just Goobers. It's sugar. Right? It's sugar. Sugar is everywhere. And for people to still be going around, no, that has nothing to do with sugar. That's candy. No, that has nothing to do with sugar. That's soda. Sugar is a major component to these things. And so when you are dealing with someone and you say something, black people don't just hear race. They see a Snapple and they go, what does it say? Wow, 23 grams of sugar. They heard the sugar in it. You are incapable in a society so deeply rooted in racism of saying much or making any reference to anything. It permeated religion, science, entertainment, education, government, corporations. There is nothing. They didn't write down black. White people, not black people. White people wrote down black, somewhere to do with it. When they did housing policies, the military, when they set up the universities, when they would admit people, every facet, who they would serve at a lunch counter, they wrote black. They injected the race card into everything. They put that burden on you. Black people didn't put that burden on you. Black people didn't say, hey, Write down black for who can get in the swimming pool. Write down black who can get a dinner at this diner. Write down black for who can vote. Write down black for... No, we didn't do that. We didn't inject race in a fucking thing. We didn't come up with race to oppress ourselves. So if you're mad at anybody about it, be mad at your forebears for putting race in every fucking thing. Don't blame black people modern day for going, hey, that's the same shit your granddaddy was talking about. Hey, that's the same ideas that was based on. That's just a recognition. That's just common sense. You can hear it, just like you hear healthcare means socialism. See how you do that? You hear healthcare means communism. You see how you make the jump? You see how you get from people wanting dental care in this country to it being run by Stalin? Well, if you can make that leap in logic, it's not as deep a leap for a lawsuit against affirmative action, harking back to the same ideas of those same universities writing blacks can't come. Your attacks on affirmative action and the rights of access at higher degrees of education for black people is directly tied and is in this exact same country where it happened. Stalin was never the leader of this country. But these universities that barred black people and affirmative action came in as an offset, and you won't get rid of the offset, means you're hearkening back and reaching back to the original racist ideas of black people being undeserving of going to university. That's not somebody injecting race. That is you having that embedded in you already. You played the race deck. I just pulled the card. I just pulled your fucking card. Because as you try to explain why it's wrong and people should get in on merit like legacies, you know, your dad went there, there's clearly merit, or the rest of it, the Lori Loughlin effect, you know, merit like that. Or being drilled and trained to death, studying for the SATs, or being diagnosed with ADD to get extra time, or having tutors and instructors to prepare you as opposed to these other kids having that opportunity, you know, so that you can use merit. So when you say merit, we know from Thomas Jefferson on forward that you mean white. And so when someone calls you on that, don't clutch your fucking pearls, own it. You're a bigot, you're a racist, it's fine. The whole idea that you can't be accused of something negative, you can call somebody a thug and put a negative connotation on them, but they call you a racist and put a negative connotation, you're not in a position to put it, well, that harkens back. When black people couldn't serve on juries, when black people couldn't accuse white people of a crime. This is that same idea. You can't be called a racist because who is a fucking black person to accuse a white person or denigrate a white person in any kind of way? That world's over. White people call you what the fuck they want to. But it's your still deeply rooted racist ideas that black people are in no position because of, Google it, no black man has the rights any white man is bound to respect. That is a core belief in this country. Same thing is the way you view police violence videos. The way every time a white person is pulling a gun on somebody, from the McCloskeys to these fools out here with the paint guns to Rittenhouse, it's defense. When people marching down the street, it's an attack. Marching down the street is an attack. Pointing a gun is defense. No bias in that at all. Unless they're pointing a gun at you, then you'd feel attacked. You wouldn't feel like they were defending themselves. So somebody needs to be shot in the back 7 times because they might get a weapon. Well, you already have a weapon because you shot them in the back 7 times. Why aren't they afraid? You're the one with the gun already. Why aren't we talking about Jacob Blake's fear? His real, legitimate fear. Oh, because he can't be trying to defend himself. He has no right to defend himself. Rights to defend yourself are the exclusive domain of white people. And if somebody calls you on that, race card, fuck you. You don't hit a race card, don't go get that fucking dick. Get woke. Figure it out. Learn better. Right? Red pill, blue pill. You can stay in the dark and keep seeing police videos and coming up with stories. Like I have white people go, well, this white person was kicked down the stairs. You never hear about that. You just published a fucking story on it. If you publish a story, it's not buried, is it? And where would you find stories of white victimhood? I don't know. Any channel, any day, any time. But only when something is happening to a black person do you start to give a shit and start hunting and searching. Why do you think you feel compelled to do that? Why do you think you feel compelled to bring up black on black crime and this white person was killed by the cops and this dog bit this person over here? You don't see them marching about that? You march about it. It's your issue. Right? There's people marching for gay rights. You don't go out and march for that, but you're out there protesting fucking mask wearing. But you don't see the gay community going, hey, they got their AR-15s for wearing masks. Why aren't they out here at the gay pride parade? Because that ain't what the fuck you interested in. That ain't what's affecting you. You're out there marching for taxed enough already. Well, where are you for Black Lives Matter? So don't ask people who are protesting for their interest about, some obscure interest over here and over there and whatever else. You protest for what you want to. How are you going to pick what somebody else is protesting? Where are you when Black Lives Matter needs you? Where are you for the gay pride parade? Where are you? Oh, you're at home. That ain't your fight. And it's not my fight to not wear a mask during the fucking pandemic. If you feel like this black person or this white person was hurt and that needs more news recognition, you go out and protest in the streets. Matter of fact, you should be, if there's more white people shot by the cops, why aren't you out there with Black Lives Matter? Why are you talking about Blue Lives Matter for all the white people they're killing? Does that make sense? Do you mean Blue Lives Matter, go kill white people? Is that your position? You haven't even thought it out. You're just so genetically, socially indoctrinated in this society that your mind scrambles and races for racist ideas. Why do you think that you need compulsively to try to find some counter argument to Black Lives Matter? There's a bunch of people in the society who are going, yeah, sure, they matter. Well, why is that a thing? But not you. No, you're on the internet looking for other stories. No, you want to talk about looting. Oh, you want to talk, you're scrambling. You're looking for something else. Why? Why do you think that is? What do you think they injected in you that makes you do something besides, yeah, of course black people's lives matter. What's the problem? You're doing all this extra homework to keep from saying that. Why do you think that is? All this extra effort. There's got to be a story about a hurt white people, a person somewhere. Didn't a baby die somewhere? Didn't a dog get hit by a car? Why do you think you're going through all of that? Black people don't do that for breast cancer awareness. They say, hey, we're doing breast cancer awareness. Everybody, put on a pink ribbon. People go. NFL go out there, pink braids, pink shoes. They're not, what about prostate cancer? You don't hear anybody talking about that? What about, they don't do that. Because you sound like a fucking fool. Obviously, if they're doing breast cancer is important, but that doesn't diminish any other fucking cancers. So black people having equality doesn't diminish white lives, but it does to you. Why do you think that is? What do you think you've been indoctrinated to believe your whole life that you have such an adverse reaction to the idea of black people being free? Why do you have a problem? with every aspect of it. Why do you think that is? Here's a hint. Starts with an R, ends with an M. I'm not saying it's your fault. What's your fault is to continue to propagate it. It's your fault to continue to believe it when you have an opportunity during a reckoning when the whole world is marching against racist United States. The whole planet is in on it. And you're part of a little small faction on Earth out of 6 billion people. There's like 70 million people in this country that are holding on for dear life to a world that's gone. With paint guns and AR-15s and screaming and going crazy, holding on, thinking that world's coming back. You got a president on TV. They want you to believe America's a bad place. You already believe America's a bad place. You voted for him because you said America's a bad fucking place. And how bad was it then? The last president said kids should be able to go to the fucking doctor. That's why you voted this lunatic in. That's what made America bad. Obamacare. That health care should be mandatory. It should be a right for all citizens. And you lost your shit. You don't understand people losing their shit over police violence, but you understand people losing their shit over children should be able to get their teeth fixed. So now we're making America great again. That means America was horrible before in your mind, in his mind. So we don't want to hear that, oh, they're saying America's bad. We know America's the greatest. It was the greatest fucking country before y'all voted for him. It was the greatest fucking country before he ran. It was greater before you voted for him. It was greater before he ran. But you said it was a horrible place and elected him. So now that the liberals are caught up with you and said, yeah, America's pretty awful. It does need to be made great. What's the problem? Yeah, it's not great right now. It needs to be made great. But when made great meant voting for Trump, you were all for it. Now being made great means getting his ass out of there. Who says America ain't great? I mean, the economy was already up. He was already riding. Unemployment had been cut in half by Obama. He wanted credit for a 0.5% for African Americans. White unemployment under Obama went from 10% to 5%. And you hated him. But it went from 5 to 4.7 without a single policy from Trump, just under its own natural propulsion, and he wanted accolades. He hadn't enacted anything. Nothing he had done economically had taken effect. He just had been riding the Obama wave. That's all the economy had been running. It had been in a huge deficit from the last Republican president, going into the Great Recession, and it come all the way back. In 2012, the Republican candidate, Mitt Romney, said Obama's policies would not get it under 6%. And when he left, it was in the high 4s. Because Republicans want to say the only way for the economy to improve is through tax cuts. And it completely improved and came from a recession basically to a surplus and low unemployment again under Democratic rule without huge tax cuts for the rich. And they don't want to accept that. They wanted to justify tax cuts. We didn't need a tax cut. What do we need in a tax cut? The economy was steaming right along when he put that tax cut in. That's the only thing he's done, and it didn't help the economy at all. Didn't do anything. The economy was already doing what it was doing. And now he has his chance this summer to actually dig out of his own mess, and he's just making it worse. So he's no Obama. For the opposite reasons you mean. But I just want you to understand so that you have a chance to be a decent person and go back and reflect on your own time and evaluate if you're still going to come to those conclusions if you truly look inside and evaluate the facts. Not just listen to Fox News and the brainwashing and just parrot back to yourself what you already believe, but to challenge those ideas. Because we're looking at a broader story of things that is surprising that white people found out about this year. Didn't know. So do your homework. Stop making comments because you look like a goddamn fool. I know better. 250 million Americans know better. 6 billion other people on the planet that are walking around with BLM signs know better. Corporations in America know better. Everybody knows better. But you haven't figured it out. It's not for the rest of the world to figure it out. It's for that 2% of the earth that is holding on for dear life to America that's not coming back. You need to move on. You have no way to impose that world. Now, it ain't enough AR-15s or paint guns in the fucking world to impose. You're just gonna get yourself hurt. Anyway, that's it. So as usual, fuck you. Don't need you to subscribe. Don't give a fuck about your comments. I'm a grown-ass man, so my life doesn't revolve around likes. I'm just some guy, and only I know what's best. Have a great day.